Greetings and happy Sunday. Trusting all are safe and well. Sending a virtual rose and love from a distance. This is part 2. The dimming of a star. The Len Bias story. Part 2 of a 4-part mini docu-series on the life and tragic passing of Len Bias. I'm going to play a short audio intro for a little bit of background and then go in to the live.
Good evening and happy Sunday. This is Lise of Doe Eyes TV, welcoming you to part 2, The Dimming of a Star, the Len Bias story. This is a 4-part mini docu-series on the life and tragic passing of one of the most prolific athletes to ever grace a basketball, Len Bias, who was selected second overall in the 1986 NBA draft by the Boston Celtics, who had just come off winning a national championship. Red Auerbach had his eye on Leonard for the longest time, and he made sure he was able to, quote, unquote, and for all intents and purposes, get his man. Leonard was at the top of the world. He had the world at his fingertips.
Happy Sunday.
And on June 19th, just 2 days after being named the newest Boston Celtic, that light dimmed. Tonight's episode is a brief tracking of the last reported steps and places that Leonard had gone. There's still, to this day, over 30 years later, so many unanswered questions, so many theories. I had just graduated from high school, June the 13th, 1986. And I remember hearing the news, and it felt like someone kicked me in my gut. I never met Mr. Len Bias. However, it's a feeling many get when you are in total shock to hear that somebody that you've admired personally, that you've seen on TV, or just touched you in a special way. And the tragic circumstances, it sits with you. Many feel that way today. Leonard Bias was born on November 17th, 1963, just a few short days from now. So, to pay homage to his name, this is part 2 of The Dimming of a Star. Thank you for joining, and please feel free to leave any comments, but especially your favorite memories. I know my favorite memory was when he squared off against Michael Jordan is something I think the world would like to know. How would that matchup be if he survived and actually donned the entire Boston Celtics uniform? We'll never know. But we can keep his name lifted and his star bright as ever.
Thank you for listening to my brief intro. Many remember Len Bias. Many grew up watching this young kid grow into a phenom. And there are many who have grown up to learn about the life of Len Frosty, because he was so cool, Bias. This part 2, briefly backtracks some of the reported steps or places it was reported he had gone on the last hours of his young 22-year-old life on this side. Now, we know he walked across that stage when he heard his name called by Commissioner Stern as the second overall pick of the 1986 NBA draft. A dream that he said came true. He was cut, not once, but twice. But he had heart and the tenacity and will to continue. And when he made the team the next year, there was no turning back. He worked harder at his game. He learned the fundamentals. He became stronger and better. And playing basketball was in his veins. He began to capture the eye of many adoring fans, coaches, and scouts. As he grew intelligently, professionally, and personally, his name and presence grew even bigger as he played on the floors of Coldfield House, located on the campus of University of Maryland, where his dorm room was also located. Washington Hall, 1103. I don't think too many people would forget that or could forget that. There are many stories you can find on the internet. But my being here in Maryland and attending Maryland, and the fact that, to me, There's still so many unanswered questions of people involved, some information that may have come out, other information that didn't, some information that may go to the graves with those who were with him the last few hours. June 18th, approximately 9:45 p.m., Len Bias and his father, James Bias, returned from a day of interviews and talks with Reebok for an endorsement package that would have net a purse of $325,000 for a 5-year contract. Basically, he would have been set for life. And that was just one endorsement. Reebok wanted to model their product as Nike had done with number 23, Michael Jordan. After taking his father home in Landover, it was reported that Len Bias in his shiny leased vehicle returned to the campus, where he conversed with fans and teammates. Some sources report, despite his jubilation, there was a little frustration, maybe some anxiety with all of the press coverage and questions being asked of him. Keep in mind, he was still just 22, and fame and celebrity literally just fell in his lap the day before. So he decided, reportedly, to go visit a friend a little after midnight, but not before, making sure they had a celebration of beverages, one to include cognac and, reportedly, private stock at the Town Hall liquor store, not even 2 miles from campus. So, with their adult beverages in tow, they returned to Washington Hall. Later, it was reported, about 2 a.m., Len Bias left to meet a lady friend in Capitol Hill, which is in Washington, D.C. He stayed for about an hour, as reported, and returned, where he conversed more with his friends in the room in Washington.